Hello, welcome to Locktail 31. This is the Fallen Angel, and it's the first Locktail that I'm doing from the Roaring Twenties, the bracket of time from 1921 to 1930. Also the first 10 years of Prohibition in the United States. And what happened was, obviously, alcohol was made illegal in all of America, although states like Maryland didn't fully enforce the Prohibition. But a lot of bartenders like Harry Craddock moved from the US. He moved to the Savoy Hotel in London, and in 1930 he wrote the famous Savoy Cocktail Book, which is where we get about 750 recipes that we can look back through that era. Now, one of those was the Fallen Angel, and it was apparently a very popular drink in the US during Prohibition in the 1920s, and the reason is said because bootleggers were making bath cut gin. They're effectively making it in baths by making the white spirit, effectively moonshine, and putting the juniper berries in and the other botanicals, and they were coming out with very strong gins, but also gins that were causing blindness, and they were killing people. There were a lot of deaths from alcoholic poisoning and other poisoning during Prohibition in the US. So this cocktail has a little bit of a troubled reputation because a lot of it was about hiding the taste of terrible gin. Now, we can't really follow that recipe, which was really just putting some creme de menthe in, some citrus and some bitters, and basically hiding the terrible gin that they were using. So I am changing this around just a little bit. I am trying to have a little bit of a homage to the Prohibition era, as was the Prohibition Gin Company in South Australia when they created this bath cut gin. Now, I don't think it's made in a bath, but it definitely has extra juniper inclusions, and they've gone for a very high alcohol content, which would have been typical of these sorts of gins, 69% in fact. So this is a very flammable gin if you want to do fiery cocktails. It's very, very strong on juniper flavors. So it's not awful flavors that I'm putting in there, but it is flavors that need to be balanced. So I think a great choice for this 2021 Sydney COVID lockdown version of A Fallen Angel. Now, in Harry Craddock's recipe, it calls for a glass of gin. A glass is basically 2 shots, so 60 mils. This is quite expensive gin, so I really don't want to waste it. Unlike the Prohibition versions, incredibly strong too, so be careful. I mean, you're talking about a gin that is nearly 60% stronger than your regular gin. So that's 2 shots of bath cut strength. That's almost 3 shots of normal gin in terms of strength. Now we want basically half a shot, 15 mils of creme de menthe. They often use green, and it would have given us this a more of a green color. Problem is, most green creme de menthes taste disgusting. No offense to the makers, but if you can get a really good quality white creme de menthe, you're going to have a much better experience. And as I said, we're not trying to hide the flavors here, we're trying to boost them. So we're going for really good quality creme de menthe. That's it for the spirits. Now, if we were doing this in a bar instead of at home, you generally add your more expensive ingredients at the end in case you make a mistake. If you're doing it at home, you can add them first, just make sure you don't spill it. Now, I'm also going to add something else from the time. So I've managed finally, through the post of COVID lockdown, to get myself a replica copy of Boker's Bitters. Now, Boker's was pretty much the bitters of American cocktails through until Prohibition. It didn't survive Prohibition. I've written about that on some of the other articles on the website. And this is effectively a creation. You can find it on my website, and you'll find links to it. You can actually go back. They found original bottles, researched the flavor. It's very bitter. Bitters, it's sort of cardamom and spice strong. It's made in a whiskey spirit. And this Dr. Elling Arab's Boker's replica bitter is fantastic. Only just got it today, so still experimenting with it and do some old fashions. But I'm adding it to this Prohibition drink. So basically going with about 4 drops. That's going to add the bitterness that I want to the cocktail. And then my final 2 ingredients are 1 shot of lemon and lime juice. So I'm 50-50 here, 15 mils of lime juice, 15 mils of lemon juice. You can just use one or the other if you want, but I think this combination is going to give me the best result for this cocktail. And then I've also got 15 mils of simple syrup, but I've infused it with mint, regular grow in your back garden mint. I'll put that recipe on the website. I think I've used it in one of the other cocktails before. You effectively make your 2-to-1 sugar to water simple syrup, and then while it's cooling down, you by the time you've dissolved the sugar, you've probably got it up to about 50 or 60 degrees. You put a couple of dozen mint leaves in there after you've washed them. Let the mint stew in the sugar syrup as it cools, and then once it's finished, strain the mint out and put your mint sugar syrup in the fridge. So 15 mils of that mint infused. So I've got basically a little bit of fresh mint flavour here to go along with the liqueur creme de menthe flavour as well. That's it. Handful of ice already in the shaker. Give it a good shake. We really want this to be cold. If we really were working with Prohibition gins, really poor quality, or other spirits, we definitely want to get those flavours through it. I mean, you could be tempted to put half an egg white here and froth it up, but if you mixed a non-pasteurised egg white with really poor quality poisonous gin, God knows what the result would be. So I'm staying away from turning this into a sour, even though it probably falls technically into the sour class of cocktails. That's gotten nice and cold. You would double strain this if you had the egg white or if you had squeezed the juice freshly into here, but I was already using pre-strained juice. So there we go. That's obviously if we were using green creme de menthe, we would have a different color, but I think this is quite a nice color. It's a good size to fill a coupe or probably completely fill a standard martini glass. And the garnish for this cocktail, given it's a fallen angel, is basically a pair of mint angel wings. And there you have it, a Sydney COVID version of the fallen angel with a slight little twist. So we're not trying to hide poor quality gin, we're trying to celebrate great quality gin. And as long as you like mint flavour, I think you'll like that cocktail. So it's the weekend in Sydney, we're still in lockdown, we don't know how much longer yet. Why don't you go and make yourself a cocktail? Have a look on the website, the recipes, some of the history is there, the ingredients are there. You can see from the other cocktails we've produced that you can play around with them a little bit. And we're into the Prohibition era now, so we're going to be doing some interesting cocktails over the next couple of weeks. Bye for now.